What's up everyone? In this video today, I'm going to be starting a new series detailing my switch from left-handed to being a right-handed shooter. In this series, I'm going to be talking about some tips and tricks if you're going through this, how it is going for me personally, and just kind of cover some general conversations about things that you need to be aware of if you're involved in switching hands, or maybe if you're somebody that's trying to learn how to shoot with your non-dominant eye. I think you'll also get some benefit out of this series. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Alright, so in this video today, I'm going to be talking about how to get started. So let's say for whatever reason you're having to switch hands, whether it be from left-handed to right-handed or right-handed to left-handed. This is going to be some tips and general advice that I have that these are things you need to focus on, things that you're going to have to go through and really work hard on to make sure everything is set up well, and that whenever you're actually shooting on the line, these are things you need to be aware of that are going to be going on. So the first thing that you need to be aware of is that you're going to have to basically totally change your gun fit. So if you're like me and you're somebody that was shooting quite a bit left-handed and then has to change hands, well, you're going to have to change that gun fit quite a bit from a left-handed to a right-handed. Now, this could take the form of several adjustments. It could be your length of pull, if you have a precision fit stock or a Pro Soft, something that has the contraction and comes back out, the recoil system that way. You may have to adjust the tension of that system. You may also have to adjust the cone. You may have to adjust the cast or the cant of the stock pad going against your shoulder. It's basically infinite, the rib of your gun. You're going to have to pretty much change everything most of the time. Now for me, I've actually tried to do this. This is the second time. Last year I kind of piddled at it a little bit and just kind of played around and see what it was like, and this year I'm actually officially making the full-fledged switch to being a right-handed shooter. Last year, whenever the first time that I did it, for some reason I had to adjust the gun quite a bit, and this year whenever I'm actually really committing to going and being a right-handed shooter, I didn't have to make as much of an adjustment. So for me, what I noticed this time is I just had to change the cast at the back of the stock pad. I had to change the length of pull slightly. It really wasn't that much, maybe about ½ an inch of an adjustment. It wasn't a huge adjustment. I didn't have to screw it in or out 2 or 3 times. That was pretty much the only adjustments that I've made to my gun since switching to right-handed, and that's worked pretty well for me. The gun is set up well, it's fitting good, it's breaking targets good. But I do think it's going to be different depending on the situation, because like I said, the first time that I kind of played around with this, I had to change everything on the gun and totally change everything over. It's also going to depend on you as an individual, as far as the 2 different sides of your bodies. Are your shoulders exactly the same as far as the pockets of your shoulders and all that? If they are, then you're just going to have to change the cast to the stock one way or the other. It's basically going to be the same thing, or really, really close. So keep the gun fit in mind. If you can have some people's brains to pick through this process, that's definitely going to be helpful. For me, I had a few individuals that I normally go to help me fit my guns, and I definitely got their opinions throughout all of this and tweaked it a little bit and got it right where it needed to be for this process. So the next thing that I recommend that you do, and this kind of goes along with gun fit, it's just to make sure that everything is fitting well, is to go hit the pattern board. Go hit that pattern board, make sure that pattern is right where you want it to be, and then once you get through with that, go up to pills 3 on the field and set the machine on straightaway and slowly back up. So you'll start at the 16-yard line, shoot a few shells, get your gun to the point that you're absolutely ink dotting them, just hanging big smoke balls out there, and then start gradually backing up, making adjustments all the way so that you're consistently hanging that dark black smoke. The next thing that I want you to be aware of whenever you're making this switch of hands is simply whenever you're shooting. It's actually, this is a pretty easy adjustment to make because it's pretty simple, is that you're going to have to change your stance. So for me, whatever my stance was left-handed is the exact opposite right-handed. So my stance would be on 4 and 5 as a left-handed person is now what my stance is on post 1 and 2 as a right-handed person. It pretty much all flips over, if you will. Your 4 and 5 posts are going to be your 1 and 2 posts, or your 1 and 2 posts are going to be your 4 and 5 posts, depending on which way you're switching. And then post 3 is basically just going to be the exact opposite. So if you're standing like this as a right-handed shooter and you're switching over to left-handed, you're going to simply be standing like this. It's pretty much going to be the exact same thing, only the reverse. So that was how I visualized it. Is I visualized whenever I went over to post 1, since I was switching from left-handed to right-handed. Okay, I would think, what was my stance on post 5 whenever I shot left-handed, and I would exactly reverse that on post 1. So as an example, on post 5, whenever I was a left-handed shooter, I would stand pretty open, right? I would have my right foot almost parallel to the side of the sidewalk and then go over. So whenever I switched over right-handed on post 1, that means that I need to have my left foot parallel to the sidewalk. It's pretty easy to think about that. If you think about it in those terms, that you basically just want it to be the opposite. So that's something that is a pretty easy adjustment to make. Make sure you tweak it a little bit as you're shooting. Make sure you feel comfortable. Make sure that you get it personalized exactly to you. The next thing that I want you to think about whenever you're going to go shoot, if you're changing hands, is your non-dominant eye or your dominant eye. So for me, I'm changing away from my dominant eye. My left eye is my dominant eye. And so if you're changing to your dominant eye, that's going to be significantly easier. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't be successful at changing hands if you are switching over to your non-dominant eye. It just means that it's going to be a little bit more challenging, that you're going to have some different obstacles to overcome. So if you are switching to your dominant eye, it's going to be pretty simple. All you're going to have to do is just visually get comfortable with the new setup and physically get used to mounting the gun and such. So what I would recommend, though, if you are switching over to your non-dominant eye, is to think that you're probably going to have to slow down a little bit. I especially have noticed this in my doubles game, that I shoot doubles a lot slower now with my non-dominant eye as opposed to whenever I shot left-handed using my dominant eye. I had to slow down quite a bit, especially on the second target. And it really helps if you slow down, because if you think about it, you're going to get a better visual lock on it, because since you are using your non-dominant eye. Is generally what I found. You know, shooting is a sport. It's very much about seeing the target clearly, because if you're not going to see the target, then you're really severely limiting your chances to break the target on a consistent basis. The last and final thing I want to talk about in this video anyway, this is definitely not an all-inclusive list of things that you need to be aware of whenever you're changing hands. But the last thing that I want to talk about is just the fundamentals. So the fundamentals of the game are the same whether you're shooting with either hand. It is the same. Keeping your head on the gun is still keeping your head on the gun whether you're shooting left-handed or you're shooting right-handed. Making sure you follow through is still the same whether you're shooting left-handed or right-handed. So those things that you were good at fundamentally with one hand, you can transfer over to the other hand. I'm not saying it's going to be an immediate process, but you just have to get that straight in your mind that, okay, I'm still executing the same things. You know, my game plan really isn't going to change that much. For me, in the Rule of 3 video that I've had on the channel before, I'll link that video at the end of this one if you haven't seen it yet, my keys are virtually still the same left-handed as they were now being right-handed. So what my keys were left-handed, my keys are now right-handed. And that really is easy, I think, to think about, because the fundamentals of the game are still the same. Yes, you're going to have some nuances that you're going to have to learn. Like, for example, if you're going to your non-dominant eye, you may have to shoot slower, like we talked about. But the fundamental aspects of the game, getting your stance set right, getting your hold point set right, making sure you're staying in the gun, etc., those things are going to be the same, and you still need to focus on those when you're out there, making sure that you're paying attention to those fundamentals so you consistently break high scores. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. You can subscribe to my channel here. I'd appreciate it if you did that. You can check out that Rule of 3 video here and another video up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go have a great rest of your day.